Good evening. For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Today marks the 100th anniversary of the outbreak of the third and final uprising in Upper Silesia. The region was the cradle of the Polish state, but due to feudal partitions in the Middle Ages, it became part of the Czech kingdom, Austrian Empire and Prussia. Despite this, the local Polish population retained their language and culture for nearly 600 years. 100 years ago, they took up arms to fight for Poland.
Upper Silesia, with its coal mines and industrial infrastructure, was the backbone of the Prussian economy. Its upper being almost entirely composed of German Protestants, while the working class was Catholic and spoke Polish. The growing cultural and religious differences eventually gave rise to a Polish national identity. After World War I, those people stayed on to live in Poland. On May 2, 1921, Silesian Poles staged a third, more extensive armed uprising and was decisive to the Allied powers who had included the southeastern part of Upper Silesia into Poland. Speaking during a ceremony on Sunday at Góra Świętej Anny, the site of the 1921 Battle of Annenberg against German forces, President Andrzej Duda paid tribute to all those who fought and were ready to die for Poland during the Silesian uprisings.
Dlatego trzeba było
It took up arms to fight for a just resolution to the division of Silesia. It was grabbed for a fair share. This place, the mountain of St. Anny, is particular importance for those events. It was here that the toughest battles were fought. The Silesian insurgents covered with their breasts that part of the country that they wanted to be incorporated into Poland.
For the past year, Poles living in Lithuania have been able to watch their own Polish TV channel broadcast from the capital, Vilnius. The station will build a new headquarters and studios. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and the head of the Lithuanian government, Ingrida Šimonytė, signed a cultural cooperation agreement that includes a new Polish cultural center with television studios.
The Lithuanian Prime Minister Ingrida Šimonytė spoke to her Polish counterpart today regarding the May 3rd celebrations, as both countries will witness the 230th anniversary of the May 3rd Constitution. She expressed her joy at meeting the Polish Prime Minister and recalled the fruitful Polish-Lithuanian cooperation in new infrastructure and military. Šimonytė stressed that Poland and Lithuania share a common view of threats and the need to strengthen the defense of both countries. She pointed out actions of hostile countries in their attempts at weakening Poland and Lithuania by loosening bilateral cooperation. The Polish Prime Minister visited Vilnius during the Polish Diaspora Day. There are roughly 20 million people of Polish ancestry living outside of Poland, making the Polish diaspora one of the largest in the world and one of the most widely dispersed. Reasons for the displacement include border shifts, forced explosions, resettlement, and by voluntary and forced exile, political or economy immigration. Apart from Europe, Poles mostly reside in North America, Brazil, Argentina, as well as Australia and Russia.
Thousands lined up for hours to be inoculated with the single-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine in major cities across Poland on Saturday. Long lines formed after the government decided to use the national holiday weekend to set up temporary vaccination sites in Poland's 16 main cities to speed up the inoculation campaign. Due to enormous demand, some mobile vaccination units ran out of vaccines on Saturday, prompting officials to promise additional supplies.
The number of new infections, 4,612, new deaths, 144, total infections, 2,803,233, total deaths, 68,068. In terms of vaccines, the total doses administered is 11,877,060. Total first doses, 8,917,338. Second doses, 2,959,722. A total of 11,877,060 COVID-19 vaccine shots have been administered in Poland so far, including 114,128 over the last 24 hours, official announced on Sunday. Public health authorities said that 6,996 adverse reactions had been reported amongst those who received the vaccines by Sunday morning. Meanwhile, a total of 11,313 doses have been wasted in the rollout.
Orthodox faithful celebrated Easter Sunday today. In Poland, there are at least 500,000 Orthodox Christians and 50,000 more followers of the Greek Catholic Church. At least 1.5 million more are immigrants from Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. Thank you for flying SpaceX. For those of you enrolled in our frequent flyer program, you've just earned 68 million miles, said SpaceX ground control when 4 astronauts safely returned to Earth from the International Space Station aboard the SpaceX Dragon crew capsule.
The mission, which launched into space to the International Space Station ISS in November and included NASA's Shannon Walker, Mike Hopkins, and Victor Glover, and Japan's Soichi Noguchi, marked the longest ever duration for a space crew in a U.S. vehicle. The crew had launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida on November 15th, propelled by a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The return marked the end of the first crew rotation mission to the station by the Crew Dragon spacecraft, developed in partnership between NASA and Elon Musk's rocket company, SpaceX, the agency said in a statement. The mission was part of NASA's fledgling public-private partnership with SpaceX, the rocket company founded in 2002 by Elon Musk. The return of Resilience space capsule comes just over a week after the launch of NASA's SpaceX Crew 2 mission. The crew jetted off into space on April 23rd and will remain on the ISS for about 6 months.
For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Good night.